everyone, welcome back to Erbs class, man, for 5 more minutes of math. So in the middle of this polynomial and factoring unit, I'm pretty sure we've already talked about trinomials. Yeah, so remember trinomials are 3-term polynomials. Yeah, so we can't talk about polynomials and trinomials without also talking about perfect square trinomials, right? What's a perfect square trinomial? Well, let's talk about that. Okay, good. So before we get to talking about the whole trinomial part, let's get down the perfect square part. So when I have this is a binomial, right? X plus 6. If I have that quantity squared, that makes this expression a perfect square. Remember what a perfect square is. A perfect square is that thing times itself, or this. Yeah, exactly right. And so remember, we can also kind of multiply these things together. Double distribute, FOIL, whatever have you. I got videos on all of those, but this could also be written as, yeah, of course. And remember, these are all considered, equivalent expressions. Remember, these all mean exactly the same thing, even if they look different. Yeah, so remember the process we use to move between these expressions? Let me refresh your memory. Yes, so to get from this factored version into the standard form or the expanded form, we use FOIL or double distribute. And to move from this standard form back to the factored version, of course, we use factoring. Now, if we're ahead of it, we can be very clever and find out if an expression is a perfect square trinomial, which then it can be factored like this. Yeah, let me show you. Okay, good. So here's my trinomial. Let's see if we can figure out if it's a perfect square trinomial. So remember, in each trinomial and quadratic trinomials like this, there's an A, a B, and a C. A is the coefficient on x squared, B the coefficient on x, and C, of course, the constant with no variable. All right, so here's how you tell if this is a perfect square trinomial or not. Take half of B. Just like that. And if B is 12, what's half of our B? Good, 6. Now take that number and square it. Good. Now if that result is equal to C, you've got yourself a perfect square trinomial. Exactly right. And if we wanted to factor it, once we have half of B, that's our number inside the parentheses with x. Just like that. So we can save ourselves some factoring steps if we do this check. Yeah, if I take half of my B, square it, and it equals this number, I have a perfect square trinomial, and I factor just like that. Yeah, let me show you one more time. Okay, good. So I went ahead and left A, B, and C, changed the coefficients a little bit. Same test applies. Half of B. If B is -8, what's half of -8? Good, -4. And if I square -4, yeah, remember a negative times a negative is a positive. So is that what I have for C? Good. Now, notice C is equal to 16. That means everything that I checked out worked out. I do have a perfect square trinomial, and I can factor it just like that, using that half of B as the number in there with x. Yeah. Now, this is so important because this leads into completing the square. When you're completing the square, this is the square they're talking about. Yeah. So sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. And when it's not a perfect square trinomial, we can do a couple of math tricks to complete the square, complete the perfect square trinomial. Okay, I'll see you over there at completing the square soon. Later.